question for you. Can you tell where in the world I am right now? How about now? It's hard to tell, right? How about now? So if you had the knowledge, you'd be able to tell where I am, and you'd know that I'm on the eastern coast of New South Wales, probably somewhere close to Sydney, and probably near Somersby on the Central Coast hinterland, because this is Somersby Plateau Forest and it has a very limited distribution. So this is one of over 1,800 unique plant community types in New South Wales. And they give the area this kind of like a biodiversity fingerprint. So we're on the Central Coast and we're going to take a little road trip up through the Wollombi Valley and up towards Wollombi and have a look at some of the different vegetation communities that you drive through on the way. This is Hunter Turpentine Wet Forest. We're down in the Valley Flats. Okay, we're halfway up Bumble Hill and this is Colluvial Applegum Forest. Okay, so we're coming up through Culnura now, and this is Somersby Plateau Forest in all its glory, and Gopher costata in Sydney Hinterland Turpentine Forest. In Buckety, this is Sydney Coastal Sandstone Bloodwood Forest. To finish the trip, approaching Wollombi, this is Apple Redgum Creek Flat Forest. So every one of these plant communities is unique. It's got a particular combination of species, of plant species and animal species that together form a community that has a particular characteristic. Okay, so we're going to zoom in to Somersby Plateau Forest and have a close look at what's going on in here. So this is thanks to some lovely local landowners who have preserved this vegetation type on their properties, and they're allowing me to come in and take a close look. Now, to start with, the wildflowers are some of the most beautiful in the world. So these plants attract a range of birds and mammals. And I'm particularly interested in two teeny tiny little marsupial species that are known to be associated with this plant community type. So I'm going to set a couple of cameras up and we'll see who comes along. Okay, that should do. So as you can see, there is so much life dependent on Somersby Plateau Forest. Some species like the tiny eastern pygmy possum are really closely associated with it. The thing is, there is such little of it left, and a lot of what is left is on private land. As the New South Wales Biodiversity Report of 2024 states, conservation of threatened species is increasingly dependent on private land. So if you are a tree changer, or if you dream of having your own property one day, or if you do have a property with native intact vegetation on it, I beg of you, before you make changes, before you chop it or clear it or change it, just find out what vegetation community you have growing there, what species of native plants are there, and what fauna might be depending on it for their lives. I hope that in time we realise that native vegetation is not just spare land waiting to be improved, but is a complete and irreplaceable living system in its own right, not to mention incredibly beautiful.